I see everybody shooting some video, taking some pictures. For those of you who don't know, we're gonna tell you. It's hashtag Army Band 215, right? Hashtag Army Band 215. What? Hashtag Army Band 215. Yeah. Don't brag about it, come show it. Come on, dance, jump on it. It is sexy and floated. With the Saturday night, we in the fun. Nothing just fun. Wow. Nothing just fun. Wow. Nothing just fun. Nothing just fun. Nothing just fun. Nothing just fun.
American word for living water. It's got its name from all the freshwater streams that used to trickle down from the three hills of the Shawmut Peninsula right here into Boston Harbor. So as I said, the Shawmut Peninsula originally made up of three different hills. We had Beacon Hill, Fort Hill, and Cox Hill. When the Puritans originally settled here in Boston, they decided that they wanted to expand their land out a little bit further into the harbor-style bridge. Got its name because it used to turn on its central axis to help allow vessel traffic to flow through easily. It's one of only two turnstile bridges like it here in the harbor. The other is on the other side of the harbor in Charlestown. I'll be pointing that out later. Now, you can see it is currently stuck in the turned rotation. It's actually no longer active today as a bridge. More recently, the United States Coast Guard has deemed portions of this bridge as unsafe. They've required Boston to either repair the portions or just tear down the bridge completely. Repairing it would cost Boston about $15 million.
Quincy Market. On the right is Christopher Columbus Park, Little Italy, the north end of Boston. This is the oldest residential neighborhood in the city, the prettiest neighborhoods anywhere. See that gray building across the street? The ships used to anchor at the sidewalk. That's how they loaded their cargo through those windows that dropped down. On the right is the Kennedy Rose Garden. Mrs. Kennedy was born in this neighborhood in 1890. funeral was held here in 1995. She was 104 years old when she died. There's 104 rose bushes in the Rose Kennedy Rose Garden. There's over 130 restaurants in this neighborhood, pastry shops, bakeries, busting through the red light. Oh, blah, blah. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw that. Morning post with chains in between, mark an old seawall, built to keep the city from being invaded by pirates at night. The memorial on the right, this circle, this is for 8 Marines from Massachusetts, got blown up in Beirut, Lebanon in 1983. U.S. Marine Corps was founded because Barbary pirates are raiding our shipping lines, capturing our sailors and selling them to slavery. The pirates here would anchor off the coast, send longboats on shore. At night they'd send out the gang press, groups of armed men, they'd roam the streets, they found people drunk or loafing, they'd pounce on them, beat them up, drag them back to their ships and turn them into pirates. Don't that make you want to say the word R? The wall was so well built, they just kept it. This used to be part of the ocean we're driving on. Okay, stop 2 is the closest stop to Paul Revere's house. Revere is a member of 5 cell groups. There are 8 cell groups in Boston advocating an armed insurrection against the King of England. Sam Adams and John Hancock are only members of 2 of those groups. That's how important Paul Revere was. He was indispensable in the American Revolution. In the 1840s, this was an Irish neighborhood. In the early 1900s, an Italian neighborhood. Now it's a money neighborhood. When your neighborhood is filled with old world charm, that means you can't afford to live there anymore. The shoreline was on the left. See, people used to know who lived behind each window of each building. Very tight neighbors. I remember in the old days, right? There'd be a bookie guy. He'd have his own parking place. When the U.S. Constitution was built, 1794 and 1797, there were 27 shipyards in Old Boston. You could build wooden sailing ships cheaper in New England than anywhere else in the British Empire. On our left is Hanover Street. Hanover Street's the commercial heart of the North End. There are 50 Italian restaurants, cafes, and specialty shops in this street alone. Follow the smell of fresh bread. I'm not going to tell you where the bakery is because it's a local news. The gap on the left is Henchman Street. The Old North Church steeple's up there. Midnight, April 18, 1775, Robert Newman displayed the 2 engines that kicked off the American Revolution. 1 if by land and 2 if by sea. Detroit twice. They restored it. That's the way it looked in 1775. Paul Revere started his midnight ride in a rowboat. Got on his horse in Charlestown. The ride is at Charlestown Navy Yard. Bunker Hill Monument, the USS Constitution is a World War destroyer that passed young. On our left, the Coppsville Burial Ground, the second oldest graveyard in the city. In the Battle of Bunker Hill, this is the British artillery position. 1775, the British Army was the most powerful army in the world. The British Empire was bigger than the Roman Empire. Such a deep. They sent him to Hollywood. He was Cary Grant's chauffeur in Hollywood. What kind of a message does this send to the wise guys in Charleston? Crime pays, crime doesn't pay, oh, crime pays again. You know the movie, The Town, the Ben Affleck movie? That was filmed in Charleston. His father was a janitor at MIT. This town on June 17, 1775 was the bloodiest day in the American Revolution. British soldiers were trapped in the city. After the Battle of Concord and Lexington, the American militia groups formed a siege ring. They trapped 5,000 British soldiers. The Continental Army was formed on June 14th. The British wanted to attack and destroy them on June 18th. The Americans found out about the attack. They knew they couldn't face the British Army at full strength. They designed a plan to get them to attack a day before they were ready. Stuck in Charlestown on the night of the 16th and 17th, they built a fort where the monument is. The battle took place at Breed's Hill. The British naval vessels in the harbor, they saw the fort in the morning. They started shelling them with over 160 artillery pieces. In a 10-hour bombardment, they only killed 2 Americans. They could see the cannonballs coming at them. You know the Star Spangled Banner says the rockets red glare? When cannonballs come out of the muzzle, they're superheated and they're red. They glow at night. The old village of Charlestown was on our right and left. The Americans had 300 snipers here. The Royal Marines are going up the hill on this side. The snipers are picking them off. Every time they shot one, they had to evacuate. It was taking too long to clean them up. They burnt the whole thing to the ground. Wasn't rebuilt until 1780. People in Boston watching the battle from their rooftops. The British Army and their families watching it. The British Army made two monster mistakes. Number one, they thought the Americans were going to run away. What's up with that? Number two, well, that led to number two. They sent no recon units out here. This was an abandoned peninsula. The farmers marked their property with fences which were overgrown. The British Army was like a machine. They're charging up the hill on a hot summer day. They kept running the fence they couldn't see. They got slaughtered. I mean, the British Army paid for that mistake. Their front lines were here. There were 2,000 British soldiers in 2 columns. The Americans only had 30 rounds of ammunition each, so one of their officers told them not to fire until they saw the whites of their eyes. They waited till the British got about 30 or 40 yards away from them. They opened up on them. They lost 1,100 men in 90 minutes. They had 40% casualties. The Americans ran out of ammunition. Okay. Contrary to popular belief, British soldiers did not want to die. They were willing to give their lives up, the line of duty. Their officers did not want to waste their men. There are 3 bayonet charges. The first 2 charges, they wiped up the British Army. What was left, they regrouped and charged up the hill here. Now, the British soldiers are mad. They've seen their friends get killed all over the place. They took off their scarlet jackets. They look just like the Americans. They're charging up the hill, they're screaming, fight, conquer, or die. The Americans ran out of ammunition. The British soldiers got over the walls of the fort. They're rolling around in the dirt. Now, there are other Americans, not British. They couldn't shoot them because they couldn't tell them apart. This is amazing. Isn't it amazing? General William Howe was the British commander of Bunker Hill. They put him in charge of the British Army in North America. He lost so many men at Bunker Hill, he would never attack an American fort for the rest of the Revolution. Stop 4 is the Navy Yard, home port of Old Ironsides, the USS Constitution is America's fully commissioned naval vessel. There's a museum, a destroyer. You come up to the top of the Bunker Hill Monument. Stop number 4 right here. But many had a heart as big as a whale. Hidey, hidey, hide. Odie, odie, oh. Ha, ha, ha. That's what your fat dog trolley driver gets for pulling up in front of me and blocking the view. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, justice is served. That trick of American politics. Ran for office in jail, got elected and served on term in a jail cell. The brick building with a gold dome is Faneuil Hall, the cradle of liberty. In 1742, Sam Adams first proposed separating the colonies from Great Britain in this building. The bricks are imported from England. At the top of the building is a gold grasshopper weather vane that's a symbol of colonial prosperity. The same as the weather vane in the Royal Stock Exchange in London, right behind in Quincy Market. 20 million people a year visit Quincy Market, so that's America's first shopping mall. There were 100 shops and restaurants and street performers. Look at these guys dancing in front here.